have a retreat house down the road from the convent, which is just a 5-minute walk down the road and a 3-minute run if you're late for Vespers. This house is St. Gabriel's, and it has always, not always, but for years and years, this house did nothing but care for children. And it started out maybe 60, 75 years ago, taking rheumatic fever patients before antibiotics came around, when they needed years of bed rest. And that's what the sisters did for a good 50 years or so. And then with penicillin and other antibiotics coming along, that long bed rest was shortened. And then we took any convalescent child that needed any care. We did that for a while. And then we realized that retardation was a huge problem. And whatever term you call it in today's society, it is still mental retardation. And if you're a child of this parent that has it, you know the pain and the parent knows the pain. And it's probably the one negative thing in mankind, I guess, that there's no cure for, that there's no hope for, that it will ever change. But there is education for it, and there is rehab and all that kind of thing, and that's what we did there in that house. We took children who were behavior problems in the home and could not be contained in the home and were actually running the house. So we took them at St. Gabriel's, which was at that point a residential school. And we had teachers there in the school, and we were an accredited school. And then we had this residential program also. And it was that program that would turn the child's behavior, because it was a regular regime every single day. We went to chapel at 4 o'clock, we ate at 5 o'clock, we played till 7 o'clock, we took a bath and went to bed by 8 o'clock. And it went on and on and on all the time like that. We had a little dog at that point, and he avoided everything like that. But when it came time for chapel, he would come and sit on the base of the altar with those children every single time. So that was kind of nice anyways. But the whole idea was that at that time, we worked as a pilot project for the state of Maryland. Maryland at that time had a huge, big facility for this type of child. And the head of that department at that time used to be the pediatrician with us when we had the rheumatic fever patients. So he wanted to know if we could change that huge, big institution and make smaller units around the state. And he asked us to try the first one. And of course, it was highly successful, not because sisters did it, but because we worked out the pattern. And so it was highly successful. So now Maryland has little units around the state, but closer to the neighborhoods. And that's good. So now that house has changed and gone into retreats. And we have done retreats now for, what, 10 years maybe? But that house now is also undergoing repair, specifically electric repair. And when we emerge out of that, what we hope to do is to keep the retreat house going, but also to provide a place for priests and sisters and brothers and fathers who are in active apostolates and need a place to unwind, a place to be quiet, a place to find God, and a place to find someone to listen to them. So we hope to open up the branch house, St. Gabriel's, in that new facet. The other branch house, which we have totally changed, is the one I'm from. And that's the house in Philadelphia, and that is St. Anna's. I have to say, though, before we became Catholics, we did plan to get a bigger house. That was in the plans as Episcopalians. The small house that we had, we were doing two groups, two spirituality groups. And we just outgrew the house. It just was too small for what we were doing. So not only did we do the spirituality groups, but we worked with the homeless in Camden. and we had a street ministry on the streets of Philadelphia. So I would carry food, and whenever anybody needed food, they had food. So I think that was good. And then we got into clothing, and we got into Band-Aids for sore feet, and we got into podiatrists, and the work expanded. And then also, I taught in a parish on a regular basis, and then did retreats and quiet days around the Philadelphia area. But also at this time, the Episcopal Church was in great trouble doctrinally. So I started missions, and we did missions in the U.S. and in Canada. And that was a very painful thing to me. I had 4 missions lined up in Canada, and when it was announced on Friday that we were Roman Catholic, becoming Roman Catholics, when I got home that Sunday night, all those missions had been canceled. Because I had gone there the previous year as an Anglican sister, and they couldn't handle the fact that I would come back the next year as a Catholic sister. That is just not in the Canadian ethos at this time. So that was over, and a lot of the work ended at that time anyway. So that was okay, because I think that was the Spirit's leading to tell us to move on. We're open for a new adventure now. So one day, I rented a car, and I went to the convent in Baltimore, and I came back, and I had 2 hours before I had to return that car. We use every bit of money that we can possibly use. So I had 2 hours left. So I got in the car, and I drove, because in the meantime, I had been looking for a bigger house for us. So I just drove, and I went up 10th Street. Now, why I went up 10th instead of 12th or instead of 14th, I will never know. But I went up 10th Street, and there's a huge Roman Catholic high school on this side. That's what drew my attention. And then right beside this high school is a building units. The city demolished that whole block, and the bid went to a nonprofit construction company. And so with that company, they built 2 sections of units this way, with a courtyard in the center. And every unit has a garage, which is the law now in Philadelphia. If you build, you have to provide a garage. And then another space behind that garage where you can have your friend come and park. And then we face a little tiny street, a little tiny carriage street. But anyways, I saw the sign, and the sign said, "Just reduced." Now, nothing gets a nun's attention anymore. There's a Roman Catholic high school and a just reduced sign. So I inquired, and I got the Reverend Mother up to Philadelphia, and we inquired some more. And because we're a nonprofit organization, and they were a nonprofit organization, they went overboard to help us. I mean, you talk of Almighty God working in a situation. He worked in this situation. We got the house at a fairly good price for us. And then in addition, now this is in addition to what we agreed to pay for. We got a washer-dryer. We got a garage door with a remote, the linear thing. We got a refrigerator that has the ice water and the ice on the outside, Yeah, we never would have done that by ourselves. And then, because we have aging sisters, and some of the people that come to our house are also getting older, we wanted a powder room on each floor. So we got a powder room on one little corner of one room, all free. So that was